What's up, YouTube? Sean the Average Angler here. How's everybody doing? It's Monday. Well, for me, it's Monday. Who knows what day it might be when you watch the video. But thanks for clicking on the video. I really appreciate it. Just for those of you that don't know, and maybe I haven't really said this, I am not sponsored by any rod companies, bait companies, boat companies, mechanic companies, any of that kind of stuff, okay? Clothing companies. I am part of RB Bass, okay? Feel free to search RB Bass on the computer. There's a website there, all kinds of reports, tips, tricks, all kinds of stuff by not just me, but 40, 50, 60 other guys. Anyway, I've been a part of RB Bass for a long time. That has nothing to do with the video. Today's video is on purchasing the right rod, which can seem pretty simple, right? But for optimal performance of said rod, it helps to buy one that's appropriate for what you want to use it for. And all rods are different. So I'm not going to tell you what brand to buy or anything like that. I'm going to help you understand what the rod ratings mean, that kind of stuff. My suggestion of weights and actions, those kinds of things. We'll try to make it quick. We all want to fish with rods. We don't necessarily all want to talk about ratings. So for this example, we are going to use a Powell, okay? In this case, it says that it's a 704. Okay, this is actually a 703. But there was a misprint. They gave these away if you bought another Naked Series rod Black Friday through the following week. You got one of these free. Great deal. And I'll tell you, I fished a 3/8 jig and a 1/2 ounce jig on it this past week, and man, that I would say is a sweet spot for this rod. Now the sweet spot means it's not overpowered by the bait. It casts very effortlessly a long ways. It's very easy to control, so I could hit my spots. If I was out in the middle of the lake wanting to throw a long ways, I could huck it a long ways. So this is what this rod says: 7 foot medium heavy. Okay, we all know what that means. 7 foot long, medium heavy. But everybody's ratings might be a little different. Okay, so this is where it's going to get interesting. Extra fast, which to me means it is a single hook rod. Okay, for treble hooks, hard baits, you typically want something that's more in the moderate. We'll get into that in another video. Or actually, we'll touch on it here, okay? Extra fast action, 8 to 15 pound test. This is 12 I put on here. Now the important one, 1/4 to 3/4. So I just told you 3/8 to 1/2 ounce, I think is the sweet spot, okay? Can it handle 3/4? Yeah, it can. But I think it would load a little bit much for my casting style, how I like to cast. And with the 3/8 and 1/2 ounce, it's pretty effortless, right? One hand, wrist flick, goes a long ways because the rod's loading properly. A 3/4, I'd probably go to a different rod, typically longer than 7 foot. I'd probably throw 7.3, 7.4, and it would be a heavy. But pay attention to this rating here, okay? It's right, I think it's right in there. Yeah, right in next to my finger there. Let's see if the camera can focus. There we go. I know it's backwards on your end. 1/4 to 3/4. So my advice is to try and get a rod when you have that big, so there's a 1/2 ounce difference, right, between 1/4 and 3/4. Try to fish stuff in between them. I don't like to push the envelope one way or the other. This worked really well with this bait. This is going to be that type of rod for me, okay? I haven't weighed a Senko, although I do have a scale. I have a funny feeling that the Senko is going to fall in that range. So this could be a good Senko rod as well. The load on it is nice. It's not too fast. It's bending down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 guides when I really pull on it. Let's look at a spinning rod, okay? Because this is important. This is a mistake I made early on, okay? So I have 100 rods. So for me, it's a little bit different. But back when I started, I didn't have 100 rods, and spending $100 on a rod at the time was a big deal to me. Don't laugh at my butterfly on the coffee cup. My wife's coffee cups, man. You got to learn where to pick and choose your fights, okay? All right. So here we have a 7'4", 1/8 to 3/8, 8 to 12 pound test. Extra fast action, 7'4". This is an IMX Pro Ned rig rod, okay? Kevin, I let Kevin play around with this a little bit because he was throwing a 1/4 ounce hover rig, and I was out casting them with that little 1/8 ounce Ned rig. The worm's got some weight to it, obviously. This is a Yamamoto worm, so a little bit more than maybe a Robo worm does of the same size, but nonetheless, this rod casts effortlessly. So sizing, I'm in the middle, right? Again, I'm kind of in the middle. I could go up a little bit from there. Don't know if I'd necessarily want to go down. I have some lighter action rods that if I wanted to go down, I would prefer to use over that. One more. And that Powell I'll be doing a review on pretty soon, and this iRod I'll be doing a review on pretty soon. Whoops, this isn't the iRod. This is a KGB. All right, grabbed the wrong rod. That's all right, we'll use this one. Now let's get the iRod. All right. iRod, swim bait rod, okay? This bait weighs right at 5 ounces. Okay. This is an iRod IRG 794 SBH. 794 swim bait heavy, large swim, it says, okay? 3 to 6 ounces. This is the heaviest bait I've thrown. And I was a little concerned about it. Some of you that have thrown bigger, heavier baits know that when you first start throwing heavier stuff, you can blow up some reels. This rod made it effortless, okay? It didn't overload, it loaded nicely, nice lob cast, throws at a good distance, plenty for what I needed, right? Right where I expected it to be. Will I get better? Possibly, in a little bit of time as I get more comfortable to throw them. But again, I'm trying to stay more in the middle range of the stated weights of the rod. So if you can only buy a couple rods, say you got one spinning rod, one bait casting rod. Okay, I think that's, a lot of us start out that way. And if you're pond fishing, when I go walking ponds, I typically carry 3. I'll take 3 rods. I wouldn't necessarily go with the Powell 703 if I was buying one, or if I only had one. I'd probably go with something like a 734, right? 7'3", 4 power, medium heavy, with a little bigger weight range than that. The Powell 734 will do it. Dobbins has a 734. I'm sure iRod has a 734. I'm pretty sure everybody has a 734. It's very popular because you can do so much with it, right? You can throw buzz baits, you can throw spinner baits, you can throw jigs, you can throw Senkos. What on this wall can we not throw with it? I can throw a Magdraft swim bait. I can throw a freaking chatterbait. Whopper ploppers. Frogs. You can throw frogs on a 7'3", 4 power. All right. So it covers a lot more stuff. Is it optimal for everything? No, probably not. But you can do a lot with it. So when you have less, you need something that does more. In the spinning rod realm, I'd probably look at something like a 7'1" medium. Some people say like a 702. Some people prefer or don't mind the feel of like a 703, which is a little bit heavier. I like a little softer tip on my spinning rods with lots of backbone, so I would go the 702. But it just depends, again, what you're throwing with it. If it's a weightless Senko, wacky Senko, I'm trying to skip under docks, I like that 702. The 703 will do it as well. I just tend to skip better with a 702. The tip loads a little bit better. It helps me skip it a little better. So when you're buying a rod, think about what you want it for. And if you only have a couple rods, maybe you're going to use more techniques. So you need to look for something that's going to fit inside of those parameters that you want to use it for. And as you build your collection, like I have over, I'm going to date myself here a little bit, 40 years. I've been bass fishing over 40 years. So now none of this stuff is that old, but I've been buying stuff over the years and replacing stuff and all that kind of thing. So I have a lot of rod specific things I use for certain techniques, so forth and so on. So over time you'll get that, right? But think about what it is you want to buy the rod for. There's a lot of great rod manufacturers out there. Like I told you in another video, most of my rods are Powell's, Daiwas. Powell's and Daiwas, most of them, until you get into my swim bait stuff. And then I have a variety. I've got some iRods, I've got some KGB rods, I have a Powell rod, Okuma, the Guide Select from back in the day. Still have one of those things. Thing weighs a ton compared to what rods do now. Rods come a long ways. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. We're trying to grow the channel here. At some point we'll do a giveaway. I don't want to keep you any longer. Thanks for stopping in. Y'all have a great one. Fish on.